Straight out.
Coming in to park, and he'll be there for Orca 3, and take now from the wings, Orca Sea Fury T.20. The beautiful note of the 2,500 horsepower Bristol Centaurus 18 radial engine that powers this legendary naval fighter to a maximum speed at some 460 miles an hour.
India Zulu, continue ground 122.1.
Began in 1942 when Hawker set about producing a replacement for the Tempest II fighter in service with the RAF. Well, with the end of World War II in 1945 and the gradual move towards jets, the RAF no longer had a requirement, but Hawker carried on developing it as the Sea Fury for the Fleet Air Arm. This was in spite of the fact that the design took some perfecting as a carrier-borne fighter. When it was first trialled, indeed, the test pilots of the Aeroplane and Armament Experimental Establishment at Boscombe Down reported that it was not considered suitable for deck operation. Well, soon, modifications were made, and one of the greatest Fleet Air Arm fighters of them all entered service in October 1945 in Mark 10 form. Soon started to replace the Supermarine Seafire as the Fleet Air Arm's main carrier-borne fighter of the early post-war era. Soon production switched to the FB-11 fighter bomber, of which 650 were built. During the Korean War of 1950 to 53 that the Sea Fury really won its spurs. They were flown off 3 Royal Navy carriers and 1 Royal Canadian Navy carrier during that conflict, and it was on the 8th of August 1952 that the only British air-to-air kill of the Korean War was scored. A flight of Sea Furies encountered communist-flown MiG-15s, and one of them was credited with the shoot-down of that jet fighter in one of the very few piston fighter kills of a jet. At the time, credit went to Lieutenant Peter Carmichael. More recent evidence, however, suggests that it was another of the Sea Fury pilots in the same flight, Brian Ellis, who delivered the coup de grace against the MiG. Early jets, likes of the Hawker Seahawk and the Supermarine Attacker, replaced the Sea Furies in first-line Fleet Air Arm service pretty soon. But squadrons of the Royal Navy Volunteer Reserve carried on with their Sea Furies until 1955, and non-navalised Furies were used by the air arms of Iraq and Pakistan, amongst others. Examples today are ex-Iraqi Furies in particular. Quite a few of them taking a lead from American unlimited class air racing have been re-engined with American power plants built by Wright or Pratt & Whitney. Not this one, of course. The Bristol Centaurus still holds sway at the front of this two-seat Sea Fury T.20 conversion trainer, which was the second example of the two-seater that was built. Delivered to 736 Squadron using it in the Sea Fury pilot training role. It then went to a German organisation, the Deutsche Luftfahrtberatungsdienst, as a target tug in 1960. From there to private hands in the UK and the USA before it came back to the UK in 2007. Owned by Naval Aviation Limited, the operating arm of the Fly Navy Heritage Trust, now known of course as Navy Wings. It's been on the display circuit since 2011. With the disbandment of the Royal Navy Historic Flight earlier in 2019, the whole of the RNHF fleet is now in the process of being passed to Navy Wings to join the Sea Fury in civilian operation in the future. This one of 60 Sea Fury T.20s that were built for the Fleet Air Arm and saw a great deal of hard service as conversion trainers. Go and find out more from the Navy Wings marquee towards the rear of the crowd area in the vicinity of the superb line of aircraft that they have assembled, both naval aeroplane. David Brenner with his family's Bristol Scout reproduction from the First World War that's on display here in one of the hangars. But on the finals to land, a typically elegant display in one of his favourite mounts, Chris Götke with the Hawker Sea Fury T.20 from Navy Wings. Incidentally, Chris has more than played his part in the F-35 program because he was the project pilot for the so-called VX Harrier, the much modified Harrier T4 that was used as a fly-by-wire testbed to look into the control philosophies for the